The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with God. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same, in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and answer me. When thou saidst, seek ye my face, my heart said unto thee, thy face, Lord, will I seek. Hide not thy face far from me. Put not thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help. Leave me not, neither forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Teach me thy way, O Lord, and lead me in a plain path because of mine enemies. Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies, for false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. I had fainted, unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, going into how it's all about globalization. All right, the elites enterprise. Okay, because what we have to understand, all right, that all these governments of the earth, all right, answer to the elite banking families. Okay, and the elite banking families, all right, have a mindset, all right, towards globalization. Okay, the elites have ambitions that's beyond, okay, a strong America, okay, a strong Europe, okay. Their mindset is global domination forever. All right, and this is their ambition. And what we have to understand, they put these characters in front of the people, as people look at Trump, as if he's a nationalist, as if he's all about America. No, Trump, all right, is a do boy, all right, for the globalist elite, okay? And he puts on his front, as if he's all about, America first, America this, America that. But he understands, all right, that this thing is going global, okay? And he's playing his part, okay, because he wants, okay, all right, the Trump legacy to have a place in this global, okay, enterprise that the elites, all right, are endeavoring in, okay? So what we're seeing happening, is the collapse of these individual government systems, okay, as you see, Elon Musk, he's been tasked, with being the tech guy, all right, that comes in, and makes the government more efficient, okay? And while he's supposedly making the government more efficient, what is he doing? He's destroying the old way. That's what he's been tasked to do, okay? And Trump, has been, the actor, to keep the folks, engaged, okay, in the false narrative of making America great again, okay? With Trump presidency has nothing to do with making America great. It's all about forwarding the enterprise, the global enterprise of the elites, okay? That's why, his slogan, okay, is make America great again. But the things he's doing, okay, is destroying, okay, the old system, okay, of America, okay? So what I want to get into is a few precepts, and I got a video, but I want to set the foundation, all right, with these few precepts when you go to the book, all right, of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, okay, O Lucifer, all right? And heaven in this context is referring to rulership, okay? And Lucifer, all right, is going into the elites, okay, which they call themselves the Illuminati, all right. Now I'm gonna finish this, and then we're gonna go into the word Lucifer and expound on it. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down from the ground, which did is weaken, all right, the nations, okay? Because the elites rulership has weakened the nations, okay, to the point to where they're fully submitted to this new world order, this new world regime, all right, that they're introducing to the world, okay? Because these nations, okay, are indebted, to these banking families. Now you go into this world, this word, so like in Lucifer. Okay, let's get this word Lucifer in the Edom, meaning the blue letter. All right, what you go into the word in the Hebrew is higher law. All right, and when you go into what it means, Lucifer, it means light bearer. Okay, it means light bearer. You see, because these devils, all right, they've been enlightened on the left hand side, all right, and they run the earth through left hand wickedness, man. Okay, through enchantments, all right, all the ancient, dark magic and witchcraft, okay, from all the kingdoms of old, including ancient Babylon, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, you know, and then also it goes into Halal describing the king of Babylon, okay. And you go into it, the kings, you go to Nebuchadnezzar, all right, and that line of kings, they were known as Chaldeans, which they was known for their expertise in astrology, okay, which is going to prophesy through, the the different celestial beings, the stars, the moons, all right, the moon, the sun, okay. So today, the modern day Chaldeans are the elites, okay, and they're the light bearer of this society, all right, because everyone is dancing to the tune of the elites, okay. They set the standards, they create the cultural norms, okay, the policies, the governments, okay. So even when you go down here to Strong's, all right, which we'll get it, uh, let's go here to show you. All right, so you read this again, and then we're gonna go to Job, to make more sense of it. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven from rulership, O Lucifer? All right, the elites, son of the morning. How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations, man, and the elites under their rulership. All right, the nation had been weakened economically, morally. Okay, you see, this devil was able, to weaponize, the dollar, to turn nations into third world countries and keep them there. Certain nations he's allowed to be enriched, through his economy. All right. So this man has been the light bearer of society. Everyone has been following, his influence and his way. All right. But what we're seeing is the Lord is starting to dim that light. As the devil attempts to set up his global enterprise, the Lord is beginning to dim, all right, his light. Okay. So that's why you go here, Job 18:5, it says, yeah, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. So let's go here, okay, to this word light, okay, in the Hebrew, which we know this word is a war, okay. And when you go into it, it says the light, it says light of heavenly, all right, luminaries, moon, sun, stars, okay. But this the point when you go down some more. It says light of prosperity, light of instruction, man. Okay, so the prosperity of the wicked is being put out. Okay, this man's authority to give instructions to the earth is being put out, is being dimmed. Okay, that left hand wickedness that this man runs the earth with is being dimmed. That's why scripture say, "What is there no more wisdom in teaming?" Okay, because this light is starting to fade out. It's starting to flicker. Okay, Esau reached the peak of his prosperity, and now as he's trying to extend his rulership beyond the bounds that the Lord set, now it's starting to flicker. Okay, so going to it says the light of prosperity, the light of instruction is being put out. Okay, as this devil, goes forth for his enterprise. Okay, and it says the light shall be dark in his tabernacle. It's going dim. Okay, and his candle shall be put out with him, man. So as we see, all right, this light that this devil has been ruling the earth with in wickedness, man. This left hand, enlightenment. Okay, that's why you even have a thing called, the Enlightenment age. Okay, let's see if we can find it. All right, it's a term in history called the Enlightenment. Light. See if you give us some. Yep. So let's go here real quick to the AI overview because you have a term, all right, called, all right, the Enlightenment age. Because we know the Renaissance was this devil's, kingdom being rebirthed in the earth. Okay, and then you reach the point where you have the Enlightenment age, where witchcraft and left hand magic, began to dominate, the politics and the science of this man's kingdom. Okay, it said the Enlightenment was a significant intellectual and cultural movement in Europe, roughly from the late 17th to early 19th centuries. It emphasized reason, science, and individual liberty, which is one of the key components of Satanism. Individual liberty, everybody just doing their own thing, no structure. Okay, and that's the culture that dominates the earth today. So it started in the early 17th, all right, to 19th centuries, but now that's the culture that dominates the earth. Okay, when they put out, this whole demic, what was people saying that they trust in? The science of what? Okay, of witchcraft. You see, the science of the left hand. You see, people reason based off this man's wickedness, man. Okay, so it says it emphasized the reason, all right, science and individual liberty, my body, my choice. Okay, challenging traditional authority. And they say traditional authority, they're speaking of the righteousness of the scriptures. Okay. That's what they're speaking of. They say individual authority. We're going to get that. And advocating for progress of social societal reform, man. And they want society to be reformed to Satanism. Okay. Challenging traditional authority, the authority of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Because this is what this man's society is all about. Challenging what is. Changing a man to a woman to a man. Okay. The order in marriage. Okay. Giving children, liberty above the parents, everything that the Lord set up. This is what this man has challenged through his enlightenment, okay, age, man, okay, and what he's advocating for progress and societal reform, which is Satanism, man, okay, new world order under Satan. This is what this man is wanting to establish, okay, in society, man. All right. It says enlightenment thinkers prioritize using reason and scientific inquiry to understand the world rather than solely, all right, rather than relying solely on tradition or faith. You see, rather than solely relying on tradition or faith. Okay. These are the people that run the earth. This is their belief system, man. Okay. Read this again. Enlightenment thinkers prioritize using reason and scientific inquiry to understand the world rather than relying solely on tradition or faith, man. All right. And this man is at war with the Most High. Okay. This enlightenment age was him really waging war on the wisdom of the Most High, man. Okay. It says individual liberty and rights. It says a core belief was that individuals possess natural rights and freedoms that should be protected by governments, man. You see that? That's why you have the right of a same-sex marriage. They believe that's an individual right to make their choice. Okay, but the Most High says no, that's not an individual right. Okay, and that's a standard. Okay, in the scripture there shouldn't be there shouldn't, all right, uh, be tampered with, man. Okay, it's your individual right, to get an abortion. Okay, it's an individual right to manipulate, your body, to mutilate your body. Okay, they believe it's an individual right to do that. Okay, and that's the one of the core beliefs of Satanism is the right of the individual. Okay, to be rebellion against order. And not only is the right, but it's supposed to be protected by the government, and that's why you have laws to protect. All right, wickedness, man. Okay, it says social and political reform. Enlightenment thinkers advocated for reforms, okay, in government, including constitutionalism, separation of powers and representatives of government. Many believe that humanity could make progress through reason and reform, leading to a better future, man. And this is what uh uh this society, you know, Esau pushes as if what he's doing, through his enlightenment, okay, is going beyond, the traditions, okay, of the scriptures. He thinks that he has a better, vision, right, for humanity than the Lord does, man. Okay. And this is what this man is presenting to the earth. All right. And the masses of the people are enchanted, and they're gonna buy into it. Okay. So the scriptures speak about this man, all right, having this the spirit of enlightenment. You see, the scriptures speak about everything because enlightenment, it goes into what, man? Which when you get that word, matter of fact, I'll get it in the Edom. Let me put this up here. All right. Let me see if we can find this in the Edom online for that word enlightenment. You see, and it ties in, to Lucifer, light bearer. Okay, to show you that it's speaking of, all right, a group of people. Okay, which Let's see. Does it give us? All right. Mm. So let's go back to here in Job. All right. It said the light, okay, shall be dark in his tabernacle. So this envisionment of enlightenment is being darkened by the Most High. Okay. And that's why the devil is scrambling, rushing, being tacky with rolling this thing out. And his candle shall be put out with him, man. Okay. So everything that this man has brought to the earth, is a way of life, is his ideology. Okay. When this man is removed from power, all that shit gonna be removed with him. Okay. That's why I say the fashion of this world passeth away. You see? So going back to Isaiah 14, okay, 12, read it, and then I want to get this definition real quick. Isaiah 14 and 12 said, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken, all right, the nations? Okay, so we know Lucifer goes into light bearer. We just went over, the age of enlightenment. So let's get what this word enlightenment means. Okay, when you go to the Edom, okay, when you go to the Edom online, all right, so this the word enlightenment. It says action of enlighten. All right. It says use only in figurative sense, a spiritual enlightenment. All right. The name, it says a name for a spirit of independent thought and rationalistic system. Okay. A name for a spirit of independent thought and rationalistic system. Okay. So these devils push, this mindset of independent thought and rationalistic system, okay, instead of the traditions of righteousness of the scriptures, okay, which benefited everyone. Okay, that's why this is a very narcissistic society, because it's just a bunch of individuals, man. Okay, everybody, moving in this independent, self-centered, self-worship way of thinking, and all these rationalistic systems, man. All right, because under the age of enlightenment, that's where you get nigga culture, street culture, hot girl culture, the alphabet society running rampant. Okay, all that comes under the umbrella of the enlightenment. All right, of the wicked, man. All these rationalistic, all right, systems, man. Okay, everyone, this is this deep thinker, and philosopher, nah, man. Okay, so um uh to go here, it said to enlighten, it said to remove the dimness of blindness, and see what this devil has done. He has made the true light to be dimness and blindness. All right, and the scriptures go into all this. We're going to get it, and it says um it says a supply, all right, with intellectual light. Okay, it said to shed light upon. So this man has presented darkness as light to the earth. Okay, it says to be illuminated, which is in the sense, it said to be well informed. Okay, and this man, he puts on like he's all right, evolved past, the ways of righteousness in the scriptures to a new and better way. And this is what the serpent brought, all right, to Eve. He enlightened her to wickedness. It made it seem like it was a better way than what she already had set up. Okay, this is what the serpent brought, to Eve. This philosophy of enlightenment. Okay, which was darkness, which was witchcraft. Now let's go here. Okay, we're gonna go back to Isaiah. All right, but the scriptures speak about, you know, this enlightenment. Okay, spirit. All right, that the elites will come in. This is Isaiah chapter 5. Okay, and 20. It says, "Woe unto them they call evil good, and good evil. They put darkness for light." Okay, and this man has put darkness for light. Okay, he's presented the dark as if it was the light. and light for darkness. And he's presented the light, the true way, as if it's darkness, as if it's old, played out, like it was oppressive, like it hurt people, like it was harmful to society, it was holding society back. So he's like, nah, we got to think as individuals, and you can be so much more. You can do this and you can do that, and let's try this. Why not? Who says this is wrong? Who says this is right? No, my truth is your truth. Okay, so he put darkness for light and light for darkness. They put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Because you look at this society under enlightenment, it has become very bitter. It started off as sweet, but now it has become very bitter. Okay, in the way of peace, in the way of order, the way of structure, the way of life, he has put that as if it was something bitter. You know, a man, all right, being a husband and a father. Okay, like if that's something that's lame, that's square. A man handling his responsibility as a man, that's lame, that's square. He's not a thug. He's not a bad boy. Okay, he doesn't have an edge. Okay, a woman being in order, that's bitter. That's a woman just being a wife, that's bitter to her. I have a way that's better. You can be this, you can be that. Okay, and this is what this man has presented to the earth. Is bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. All right, now everyone that has taken on the way of enlightenment is crying out. But Esau offers them, the party life, the drugs, the sex and this and that for escapism, to try to escape the bitter. Okay, when ultimately life itself, okay, is supposed to be, you, if things were in order like they were supposed to be, you wouldn't need escapism, man. Okay, you would just be enjoying life in order and righteousness, man. And that's what the Lord is bringing to the earth, man. Okay, that true order, man. All right, let's go here. I say because the scriptures speak about the enlightened, mindset. Let's read this in the NLT. Okay, it says this is Psalms 2:1 in the NLT. It says, "Why are the nations angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans?" Okay, these are futile plans. This global, all right, enterprise that these devils think, that they're going to pull off is futile in the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. Okay, it's empty. It's a joke. All right, it said the kings of the earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot together against the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shah and against his anointed one. See, this new world order is a war against the Most High and righteousness, man. These nations have come together, okay, and they think that they found a system to where they can override, all right, the authority of the Most High, man, and to forever cross out, all right, the true nation of Israel, okay. It says, verse 3, and this the point, said, let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from slavery to the Most High. And that's an enlightenment ideology, as if they're freeing, and they push this whole liberty thing is them liberating people from, all right, the order of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay, this is enlightenment ideology, man. Psalms 2 and 3. Let's break their chains. They cry and free ourselves from slavery to the Most High. Okay, that's why anything that's righteousness they push it as if it's oppressive. Okay, but His way is liberal. Okay, but at the same time, when you under this devil, all right, he's pushing for his new world order to have even more control. Here it is. This man wants to control, every aspect of society. But then he'll push it as if the Most High is just this tyrant, this unbearable tyrant. Okay, but he's the good guy. Okay, and this is the narrative that he pushes to the world, as if he's freeing them from, the traditions. Okay, that was oppressive into a new way of liberty, man. All right, and that's what he's presented to the world. That's a major part of this man's deception. Okay, when it's the complete opposite. Now, um, Let's go back to Isaiah. Then we'll get into the video. Okay. This is Isaiah 14 and 13. It said, "For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north." So this devil, this man thinks that he's going to rule, okay, as if he's the Most High. Okay, this devil thinks that, all right, because he's been exalted so much, to where, he has his technology, in the heavens, in the atmosphere. Okay, and he thinks that his rulership is just going to continue to even extend out beyond earth, man. And he says he will sit on the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, which is over here in the northern hemisphere, over here in America. Okay, in which he sits on, he has the Israelites in submission. Okay, so this man has the Israelites, in captivity, and he knows this. He knows he has the guys, the Most High chosen people in captivity. This man knows this. Okay, this man has control of, the world's wealth. Okay, the world's resources. All right, he has, control of the world's governments. Okay, the false religion, he controls them. Okay, he controls all these things, man. The cultures. You see, so in his mind, he thinks that, look, I, can run existence forever. I got this thing lock, stock, and barrel, man. Okay, and this the point. Verse 14 says, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." See, this man has a bigger ambition than America. Okay, the elites have an ambition that's way beyond, all right, America and the Constitution. And nah, man, this man has ambitions to be like the Most High, and this is what we're seeing playing out. Okay, and this is why, all right, he has these puppet governments set up to destroy the old way, all right, to bring in a new way to where he can play the Most High in the earth, man, to where he can have devices inside people. Okay, the right hand or the hand, either hand in their forehead, man. He wants to control spirits, man. Okay, so America, making America great again, ain't on the agenda of the elites. Okay, that's just a false narrative to keep you Americans entertained while they dismantle this place and right and attempt to rebuild a new one. Okay, so let's go here. All right, let's get this video. Play a few minutes of it. Mm, um, here we go. So I'm playing a few first few minutes of it, and he's going to expound, on all right how these leaders think. All right, he's going to call them OCG, which we're going to get into that. The national OCG, a national OCG. All right, and we're going to go into it as well. To explain that. But let's about the first 6 minutes, 5 6 minutes play. We'll get into it.
Well, I think basically the A national OCGFC, as I've talked about many times, I think that they've transcended the traditional structures in which they initially developed. The nation state model compartmentalized the world into boxes, and within those boxes, they created systems of order and control, and each box had its own economy, had its own power structure. So within the economy of each box, or what you call countries, some rose to the top within those boxes, but those boxes don't have any roofs. And now those who rose to the top of the box kept rising until they're not even in the boxes anymore. And once you get out of the box, once you transcend the walls of the box, well, you see things differently. And the A National OCGFC see things very differently than the nationalistic OCGFC, for example, the military industrial complex. They see things very differently because they're not as limited as before. See, you and I look at a map and we see countries, we see states, we see borders. We're looking at all of the compartments of the world. the country compartments of the world. The A national GFC don't see this. When they look at the world, they see zones of resources. They see natural resources, human resources, and so on. They see opportunity zones. You know, it's like X-ray glasses. They see through the borders and they see through the states and through the governments and what have you, just like looking through walls, you know, looking through the skin and the muscles and seeing the skeleton, seeing the bones. That's what they see. Their vision is on a different light spectrum, you know. It blocks out history, ideology, culture, patriotism, nationalism, religion, and what have you. They don't see any of that. So like when you and I look at a map, we might see that there's 3 or 4 different countries in the region, for example. But the A National OCGFC, they just see one corridor of extractable resources. That's all they see. You know, when they see Congo, they don't see Congo, they see cobalt, for example. You have to understand how they see things so that you can understand and so that you can predict their behavior. You're used to the old system of decision makers being part of and being internal to nation state power structures. So you think that they make policies based on national interests. But those days are over in the West. There's a power structure now that has outgrown nation state systems in the West. The leaders in America, the leaders in Europe, don't care about America. They don't care about Europe. If you don't understand that, then their policies won't make any sense to you. And this is what I'm seeing from a lot of political commentators and analysts who can't understand why Europe and why the UK are still insisting on supposedly blind support for Ukraine and for Zelensky, because this is obviously against the national interests of European countries and against the interests of the UK. So they assume that European leaders care about that. They think that they're supposed to care about that because traditionally they did. But these leaders care about what's in the interests of the A national OCGFC, not their nations. And that's been the case throughout the Ukraine conflict. You know, these policies are suicide if you think that the leaders are tied in any way whatsoever to the lives of their people. But if you understand their position correctly, then you'll know that it's not suicide, it's euthanasia. Like I say, if you look at the world the way that they do, in terms of zones of resources, zones of opportunities, and of course, there's going to be a layer of that map that will include or will incorporate data about demographics, demographic robustness or depletion, you know, predictable societal factors that either contribute to or detract from stability and feasible prosperity and so on. So if you look at Europe on a map like that, well, it'll be incredibly sparse. There's just not much there. The truth is there never has been much there, which is exactly why they had to go all around the world and rob and loot and pillage, because they don't have much on their own.
And he's talking about resources, dealing with Europe. That's why the scripture refers to Europe, all right, at the bottomless pit. Okay, and this is why, these devils, these European colonies, all right, these Europeans had to go colonize the world, all right, certain parts of the world that was rich in resources, so they can transport, all right, resources back to Europe. Okay, transatlantic slave trade, all right, or the triangular slave trade. Okay, when you go into it and see, what people don't understand is when they look at Trump, they think of America. No, Trump is doing the bidding for the globalists. All right. And that's why they look at these certain zones, like he was saying, as zones of opportunity. Okay. That's why Trump was talking about, making Gaza like another Mediterranean Atlantic city. Okay. They look at these places like that's why, they when they go to war with these nations, they'll bomb them, and they are what you call carpet bombing, which is just bombing a bunch of random sites, destroying the infrastructure. All right. And that creates opportunities for them to come rebuild how they want. Okay. So when you look at what these devils do, because even when they go to war against these nations, a lot of times it's not very effective militarily. Okay. But it destroys infrastructure into where they're able to rebuild how they want. All right. Destabilize the region, rebuild how they want, and extrapolate the resources around their region. Okay. Now, Ukraine is just a region of resources. Okay. And these devils look at the world as opportunity. Okay, so war is used to destabilize regions that's rich in resources. All right, as another opportunity for these devils to do a wealth grab. Okay, so they don't have the interests of America in mind when they're going to these, when they're funding these certain wars. They're funding these wars in hopes to destabilize, all right, and get access to resources. Okay, because when this global system is locked in place, these nations are fighting, all right, for the resources, the control of the resources in this new system. Okay, and eventually it's going to lead into a war that's going to spiral out of control where nukes are going to fly. Okay, you see, but people have this mindset, as if the French government cares about the French people. No, the French government, all right, they look at the earth, okay, through the eyes of the elites, as an opportunity. Okay, they don't care about the population. Remember, this man is a slumlord. How he runs the earth. Okay, so let's go here and let's get what a national OCG is. All right, and it describes Esau. So you go into it, says a national OCG refers to an organized crime group that operates with a specific country within a specific country border. So OCG is referred to an organized crime group. Okay, and when you look at the elites as a whole, they're an organized crime group. Now you have there's levels to everything. The mob will be looked at as an organized crime group. Okay, but you have the corrupt government; it's an organized crime group. You have these different, the Bilderberg meetings and the WEF. These are nothing but organized crime groups. Okay, all these different alphabet organizations that they present to the world, these what they call NGO, non-government organizations. This is nothing but organized crime groups. Okay, and it says these groups, like their transnational counterparts, are characterized by a hierarchical structure, a focus on criminal activity, and often involve violence and other harmful practices. Okay, it says definition. It says an OCG is a group of three or more people. All right, which that goes into conspire, because the word conspire means what two or more people conspire to do evil. Okay, so OCG is a conspiracy group. Okay, OCG. Yep. It said is a group of three or more people who act together to carry out criminal activities. They are not just random criminals. They have a structured organization and division of labor, and there is no bigger organized crime group, all right, than the elites. Okay, and these puppet governments that they've set up throughout the earth. All right, and this is why the CIA invests so much in doing coups and overthrowing governments, because they're all about having corrupt governments so they can forward these organized crime groups throughout these different governments, man. Okay, and they think beyond borders. Okay, people think, the citizens, they think about borders. Okay, like I say, British, the French, Germans, they think beyond borders. Okay, they look at the globe as a wealth grab. Okay, and now they're getting ready to bring a system of globalization. Okay, to where they want to erase borders and make new zones and carve the earth up, into regions. That's why you go here to globalization. Let's get this word globalization. Okay, all right. So you have globalization. It says globalization refers to the increasing interconnectedness and interdependence of the world's economies, cultures, and populations. Okay, you see, and how is the world economy going to be, all right, globalized, man, through the digital, all right, central bank digital currency, which is going to be controlled by what? The CHIP, the MOTB, man. Okay, the culture. What culture does this man wants to make global, man? Satanism. Okay, it says globalism refers to the increasing interconnectedness and interdependence of the world's economies, cultures, and population. This is achieved through the flow of information, okay, ideas, technology, okay, technology, goods, service, capital, finance, and people across borders, okay. So this man wants to set up a new world global order, okay, that configures, okay, the current borders of the world, the current culture of the world. You see, all those cultures in the East, like, nah, they want to convert that to Satanism. Their conservative culture in the East. That's why they're setting up shop in the East, man. All right, they want to convert these cultures into Satanism, that enlightenment, okay, the ideas of enlightenment, all right, and it's gonna be bound, all right, by technology, the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies, okay, because you have that. Let's see if they give us something. All right, we go to the Internet of Things, Internet of Things, and then we go to the Internet of Bodies. All right, it says the Internet of Things, all right, refers to a vast network of physical objects, devices, and systems connected to the internet, enabling them to communicate, share data, Salaki, and automate tasks. These things can range from smartwatches and sensors to industrial machinery and vehicles, all equipped with unique identifiers like IP addresses, man. Okay, so we've seen an uptick in the Internet of Things, okay, which brings connectivity, all right, to all these devices, okay. And the last thing that they want to make a device is the people, okay. It says connecting, all right, connected devices are key concepts. It says IoT, the Internet of Things, involves connecting everyday objects to the internet, allowing them to collect and share data, okay. You see? So when you go to the Internet of Things, let's see, because the last phase of the Internet of Things, because what did they say about the fourth industrial, all right, revolution? Okay, is that the world is not going to change. You're going to change. Okay. Now you have this term, the Internet of Bodies. It said refers to the growing network of internet connected devices that interact with the human body, whether worn, ingested, or implanted. You see that? The Internet of Bodies refers to the growing network of interconnected devices that interact with the human body, whether worn, ingested, or implanted. Okay? The C hip, all right? The MOTB. Okay? So this is what these devils, all right, want to take the global system to, man, the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies. Okay? That America has ran this course. All right. America has been used to put nations in debt, to weaken nations, to destroy infrastructure throughout the world. Okay. To intimidate, to be the bully, the hammer of the earth. Now it's ran this course, man. Now it's time for a global system to be rolled out. Okay. Where technology, all right, is the overseer of humanity. And Esau is the overseer of technology. Okay. It said these devices collect and transmit data about our health, potentially revolutionizing healthcare and offering new possibilities for personalized, all right, medicine. However, which that's BS, but the main point is here. All right, the growing network of interconnected devices that interact with the human body, whether worn, ingested, or implanted. Okay, you see. So this man, all right, this thief, all right, and Esau is, the thief of the earth. And that's why the scriptures say when you go here, all right, this is the book of St. John, chapter 10, okay, in verse 10. It said the thief, who's the thief, Esau Edom, coming not both for to steal and to kill and destroy. And this is what this man does to the earth, man. All right. If his resources in the earth and he wants it, man, he doesn't mind killing and destroying the people, all right, in that land to get that. All right, to steal that. Okay. He steals people. Okay. You see, this man, he's the thief. All right. He steals identities. All right. And he's all about killing and destroying, man. The scriptures say he was given a great sword to take peace from the earth. Okay. Well, Yahweh Shai says, I am come that they, which is beginning with the elect, might have life and that they might have it more abundantly, man. Okay, because there's a liberty that's in righteousness, man. There's a individual sovereignty that's in righteousness, but it's linked to a standard, okay, of interconnected standards of righteousness that benefit everyone. Okay, you see, and in the kingdom, we're just going to be able to be. In this society, you can't be. This devil tampers and interferes with the most minute things of day-to-day society, man. Okay, which is extremely oppressive. But he presents it as liberty because he gives you the liberty to destroy yourself with synthetic food, synthetic drugs, okay, synthetic people, okay, the nightlife, you know. But true liberty and living, he has stolen that, man. Okay, and that's why scriptures, when you go here to Zechariah, because this is a criminal that runs the earth. This is a thief, all right, that runs the earth. This is Zechariah 5:1 said, Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. So Zechariah is saying the chariot. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answer, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off on that side according to it. Okay, and it's going into when you have a scroll, you will have words written on the inside of the scroll and the outside. And we know that there's the scrolls going to the scriptures where there's judgment written for Esau, Edom on both sides of the scroll. Okay, for those that stealeth, all right, and those that swear falsely, man, which this man is the father of lies. Okay, and he's the biggest thief to ever exist. Okay, this is not you see, your government is just an OCG or organized crime group. Okay, under the umbrella of the elites. Okay, and all they do is steal and lie. Okay, and it says, verse 4 says, I will bring it forth, said the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief. Okay, it shall enter into the house of the thief. And let's go into this word thief. Okay, so these chairs are going to invade, all right, this society, man. Okay, it says it's going to invade the house, all right, of the thief. It's going to enter into the house of the thief, man. Okay, you go to the word thief, all right, in the Hebrew, it's a ganab, all right, ganab, and it says a thief. But when you go down, okay, to the Strongs, okay, um, and you go here, okay, and also you even have, it said thief as one who steals, all right, thief that breaks in, all right, and having this man, broke into, yeah, this man stole the earth. When this man came back into rulership, he went and stole the earth with the sword, man. All right, as the Lord, all right, as Isaac, blessed him, all right, by the sword shall he live. Well, all right, that's his survival. All right, is that sword? That's how he survives. All right, and with that sword, this man has went and stole everything that he has. All right, as the brother put up, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Well, how did he get it? Through the sword. All right, through the sword and through deception, man. Okay, so this man when this man was loose, when Satan was loose from his prison, hey, he went to be a thief, man. He went to be a murderer, man. Okay, this man was loose from his prison. Okay, You see, when Esau was allowed to come back into power, all right, when he was allowed to expand beyond, the Caucasus Mountains, okay, this devil went into society, all right, as a thief and a murderer, man, and enchanter, okay, and even when you go here, it calls this man what? The stealer of men, a slave dealer, a stealer of men, a slave dealer, man. So this man has stolen men from he's stolen people from one continent and brought them to another. Okay, this man has enslaved the earth, in these factories, and you know, you see, he has it to where the earth is manufacturing for him. The people of the earth have just become a battery for his system. Okay, and especially here in America, man. You see? So when the scriptures say he's going to enter the house of the thief, it's speaking of Esau, man. All right, and his society, his rulership, man. Because everything that this man has, he's stolen. Okay, it says, "I will bring it forth," said the Lord of hosts, "and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that swear falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof, and the stones thereof, which is going to destroy this man's infrastructure. These chariots are going to destroy, all right, the infrastructure of this beast, man. The chariots are going to go throughout the earth, destroying this man's infrastructure, man, because he's done it. He's destroyed the infrastructures of others, all right, and it's going to be done unto him. Okay, so let's go here, all right. We'll end it here in Job, the book of Job, chapter 5. Okay, and we get that word enterprise. It says, "He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise," man. Okay, and the devil is trying to pull off, this global satanic system. He's not going to be able to. All right, he isn't ordained, okay, to pull it off, man. All right, as you go here to look at this word enterprise. Okay, so enterprise, it says a project or undertaking, typically one that is difficult or requires effort, man. And this man is trying to do the impossible, okay, by going against the will, okay, of the Lord. All right, trying to change the outcome of what's written, which even with him trying it, it's still within the will of the Lord because it's written for him to try this. Okay, you go into these similar words. It says an undertaking, an endeavor, a venture, a pursuit. Okay, a mission, a operation, a scheme. Okay, idea. You see, a task, and this man has been tasked, all right, with the impossible, man. In order to get rid of Israel, he has to be able to search out, the heavens, the sea, and he can't do it. Okay, so the Lord has this man all over the place, man. That's why he's looking more tacky, and why he's doing it. The Lord is dimming his lights, man. Okay, because he's not going to be able to pull it off. All right, so he's not going to be able to perform his enterprise, man. All right, the Lord, is going to allow the devil, to get so far, before he sends Yahweh Shah back to just uproot everything that this man is attempting to do, man. Okay, verse 13 says, "He takes the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the fraud is carried head long, man." Okay, so these devils, as they think they've been enlightened, to work around, the prophecies. All right, they're working into the will of the Lord, and it's gonna go bad for him, man. Okay, and we're gonna see this man embarrassed and judged. All right, on a global scale. His judgment gonna be global. All right, that's what's gonna be global. It's gonna be his judgment. The earth is gonna see this man, judged and brought low. Okay, by Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right. So that was the point. Just wanted to get into that. Lord will, you brothers. All right, and you sisters edified to the next time. I say Shalom. 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 Shalom.